Hey guys, Alex here, and I've got another 2400 point battle report for you. I don't know whether you guys have noticed across the last couple of battles, or whether I've mentioned it before, but my goal for this series, if you like, on kind of YouTube, and just for going forward, is that I want to make sure that with both of my armies, both my Warriors of Chaos and my Vampire accounts, get a chance to play against every other army that's out there. So they get to play against Beastmen, Warriors, Vampire accounts, High Elves, Dark Elves. They get to play against the works, because I don't want to get too bogged down in playing the same people over and over again, the same list. So what I want to do is make sure that I get a chance to play everyone, and that's going to be my goal. When I've done that, you guys, there'll be a big celebration video when I get my last army to play against the last kind of counter army to play against. So that's why in these first couple of games, I'm spoiled for choice at the moment with the amount of armies that I can play against still and get a chance to record, and it means that I've got enough people kind of within my gaming circle at the moment who play enough different armies that I'll be able to get a good chance at playing against all of them with both of my guys. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, because it makes more entertaining viewing for you, and I want to do it because, I had my first game against Beastmen ever the other night against my buddy Tony, and that report will be going up after this one. Fantastic game. I didn't know what to expect at all with them, and it was a great game. I've never played them before, and I wouldn't have had that chance if I didn't go looking for it. So this is against the Orcs and Goblins for 2,400 points. My buddy Sam thought he was going to be playing against my Warriors. Not that he tailors his lists, but when he brought out the Vampires, his face dropped a little bit, because a lot of his army is ignoring armor saves or penalising my armor save, and it makes a big difference when I've got a 3-up armor save Warrior of Chaos getting no armor saves than a zombie who's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and stained chinos not taking an armor save. So I'll run through kind of the list that we've got quickly, and this will be kind of my introduction to you guys with my Vampire counts list. It's not as well painted as my Warriors of Chaos list. It's a long work in progress, but I'll run you through it, guys, and you guys can tell me kind of what you're thinking of it so far. So my general of the army and the guy who's holding it all together is Lord Boar-Lamain. He's my Ghoul King of the Catacomb. He's a Skrigori Ghoul King, and he uses the Lore of Vampires. He has Red Fury, the Dragonbane Gem, and Scab Scratch. This is one of the very few exceptions where I will pay for the expensive sword in the book, because it gives you a scream. The army list I write is not a very friendly list in the sense that it has 4 different screams coming from 4 different sources. Not all from Banshees either, or Terrorgeist. So I like the scream list. I think it's fantastic. Nothing hits harder than a scream. It's just wound with no save. I think it's fantastic. So I've tried to stick it in as many times as I can. The fact it gives him Flaming Attacks, Frenzy, and Devastating Charge is an added bonus. And let's be frank, if he doesn't going to kill anyone by the end of the game in close combat, what was the point in bringing him? Then I've got Hermes Moore, the real Grim Reaper. He's my Master Necromancer. He uses the Law of Death. He's a level 4, and he's got the Seed of Rebirth. Then my heroes, Kemler, the Scroll Keeper. He's a Necromancer with the Law of Vampires. He's level 2, and in case you hadn't guessed it, yes, he's got the Dispel Scroll. And then I've got Isabella the Damned. She's my Tomb Banshee. Because we've got to have one. Then I've got my Rotting Flesh Horde. They're my 39 ghouls with a Ghast in it as well. Then I've got 2 units of wolves, both just dire wolves. No command or anything like that, they're just the dire wolves. And then I've got my enemy Risen, which is 50 zombies with a musician and a standard bearer. And that's my core. It's a lot of people, but they're not. Weapon skill 1 is hardly anything to write home about with them. Then I've got my special, the Hulking Horrors. That's 6 Crypt Horrors and a Haunter. Whispering Death, 10 Hexwraiths and a Hellwraith. My Winged Fury, which is my Terrorgeist, and my Crypt Engine, which is the Mortis Engine with a Blasphemous Tome. Coming at 2 points under my list, and according to Swedish Comp, it's a pretty competitive list. I don't like bragging about it because self-praise is no praise, but I really like playing as the list. I think it hits quite hard. Then we go to my buddies list. Although he was saying how he was looking forward to playing a game where he had more people on the board than I did, and I think he only just had more people on the board than I did with this army. With his Warriors, he outnumbers me 1,000 to 1, but in this list, it was a real close call. So he's got his General, which is a... who was his General again? His General was a Black Orc Big Boss on the War Boar. He's got an Enchanted Shield, the Dawnstone, and the Sword of Striking. But he's only a hero level. He wasn't a Lord for his General. His other heroes were a Black Orc Big Boss with a BSB, he was the BSB, sorry, and he had a shield. He had Mork's War Banner, which I found out late into the game. That is, all magic items within X amount of inches are completely redundant when you're in combat. It's their signature banner, and I think it's a fantastic banner for people to have. And then he's got a level 2 Night Goblin Shaman with nothing. His Lords, doing this bit back to front, he's got a level 4 Savage Orc Great Shaman with the Lucky Shrunken Head, and he's got a Night Goblin Great Shaman, level 4, with the Talisman of Preservation and the Arabian Carpet. again, I found out about halfway through the game he had this because I like to try to play closed list prior to the game and then a list check kind of afterwards, because I don't think there's a lot of skill in tailoring list play against certain people. I like designing a meta list that plays against everyone, and yeah, I don't see any skill in building a list to play a certain player. Then we've got his core. He's got 30 Savage Orc Biggins with additional hand weapons. They've got a boss musician and a standard. Then he's got 30 Savage Orc Littlens. They're not called Littlens, but they're just the other unit that's not the Biggins. They also have additional hand weapons, a boss, musician, and standard. Then he's got 39 Night Goblins. That's a bit of a pain in the backside. They have Netters, full command, and 3 Night Goblin Fanatics. Then he's got a group of 20 Night Goblin Archers. They also have Netters, full command, and 3 Fanatics. And then we've got another unit of 20 Night Goblins with Netters, full command, and 3 Netters. So nobody saw that coming at all, did they? They're the 2 units at the back there. I mean, it's an absolute horde of stuff that he's got there kicking around. I put some Fanatics at the front just to show you guys them, but he's got 9 in the list, so I mean, it's a bit of a horrific list. Then he's got his Doomdiver in the backhand corner and his 2 Mangler Squigs. I mean, they're pretty. It's a pretty brutal list, and I can see why he'd want to play my Warriors more than anyone else, because that's absolutely lethal playing against the Warriors that I've got. We decided just to play a straight up battle line, mostly because I'm not a fan of the random objectives that come into a game. I know sometimes they make it a little bit more tactical, but that's always what I've seen tournaments to be for. Because if, for example, we were doing Blood and Glory, or the banner capture in one, I've already broken, because all I've got is the general and my zombie banner, so I've already lost, and that would have been a relatively short battle report for you guys. So I just like sticking it to straight up battle line, no special rules, no twists or anything, just let's punch each other until one of us kind of falls over. So these are the spells that I got. I got Fate of Boona, and you guys can correct me on this. How do you say that? Do you say it Juna or Boona? Which one of the first 2 letters is silent? So I got Fate of Boona, as I call it. Soulblight, Doom and Darkness, and Spirit Leech, my level 4. My level 1, he has to be a wizard, just hold the army together. He's got Invocation, because can't leave home without that. And my level 2 had Invocation and Van Hells. There's a lot of slides for these next kind of spells, because Sam has 3 wizards, 2 of which are level 4s. So his level 2 got Sneaky Stabbing and Gork will Fix It. They're pretty good spells to have. I mean, I like them a lot, which, I mean, I was so tempted to get this army, Orcs and Goblins, because the conversion work and stuff I do would be absolutely fantastic. Sorry, that sounded really big-headed, didn't it? I mean, it would be really fantastic to do conversion work on them, is what I meant to say. Here's, oh, that backfired, didn't it? The level 4 of the Little War is, he's got the Gift of the Spider God, Vindictive Glare, Curse of the Bad Moon, and Itchy Nuisance. And then his level 4 Savage Orc Shaman has the Foot of Gork, which is arguably one of the more broken spells in the game. Headbutt, Hand of Gork, and Brainburster. I think every army needs to have that one spell that is utterly broken as hell. Old Gateway used to be broken as hell. Just delete the unit on a 10+. The 13th, I think, is broken. Foot, I think, is broken. And I think I like that about the game. A lot of people say it's unnecessary and it ruins it and stuff, but I like the idea that one good magic phase can turn the game for you, in the same sense that one good combat phase can turn the game for you, or one good shooting phase can turn the game for you. You can't nerf all the phases. You can't nerf phases where there's a lot of damage done, because there's potential in all those phases to do damage. That's my rant over, by the way. That's a little bit of my rant over. And then we started deploying. I thought I'd out-deploy Sam, and I didn't. I forgot with my 2 units of dogs, I have more units than he does, so I won the roll-off and said, yeah, put it down first, I'll out-deploy you. And I didn't, which was a mistake on my part. So we'll work from left to right. We've got his Doomdiver up on the hill there, his first Mangler Squig, unit 20 Night Goblins, and then we've got his horde of Night Goblins next to them. His horde has all of his heroes in? Yeah, I think his horde has all his heroes in. You can see both his wizards kind of in there as well. Then we've got his Biggin unit, and my god, is it a Biggin. This is his points bunker. BSB at the very far side, Boar in the middle, and Savage Orc Great Shaman. My buddy Sam painted this army very quickly for a tournament, just to try and get it painted. That's why he was stressing that don't judge him on the painting scheme so far. If anyone in the army you're going to pick out the Shaman, because he's the only one he's actually spent time with. Everyone else is part way through completion. Then on the far side, sorry about the blurry picture, he's got his other Mangler Squig, his other Night Goblins, and his unit of Littlens. You'll notice my paint pot, water pot is holding this forest down. The tables we've got, we're playing this game in my flat, the table we've got is a little bit wonky, so I mean, to keep all the 6 tiles down, we've got to weight one corner down, which is why in all the games there'll be one wood which has like a pot of keys or a bottle in it just to weight that side down. So sorry about that for aesthetically pleasing people. We've got my left flank a little bit empty there. You can just kind of see the corner of my hex race. Then we've kind of got the bunker in the middle, hex race over there. We've got my points bunker, which has my level 4, my Tomb Banshee and my Ghoul King in it, along with all the other ghouls. Then we've got the unit of Crypt Horrors next to them. My Terrorgeist, I didn't leave room for him backwards. I always do it, so I've got to put him sideways. The unit of Mortis Engine next to them and the zombies on the far side. Then we've got, oops, Dice Cube as well, and my 2 units of dogs over there. I mean, with deployment, I always get caught out a little bit because I never really know how to deploy tactically. I always kind of just deploy with what looks aesthetically pleasing, and normally that kind of helps with me. I was in a bit of bother when I was playing this game because I knew my Terror guy sucks in combat, he always does, and I can't flee from combat. So I need to make sure that he is out of charge arcs almost all the time. The problem is, Sam has so many people, he's built a wall of people, and he's just going to walk at me, and eventually I'll be in range and he'll take me down. And like Demon Princes and all those other toys that you play with that you like the most. I mean, my Terrorgeist is clearly my favourite toy in this army, and I don't like to see it die. Just like I don't like to see it when Plague Father dies, and just like I didn't like to see it when my Stonehorn died. They're just the things that you look at them, they're centerpiece models, and you want them to stay, and they just never do. We played for the roll-off, and Sam got to go first, but not before we did the Vanguard moves. I always do that back to front. We didn't find out about, he didn't have any Vanguard moves, so I just moved up both my dogs there, and the unit of Hex Race over there into the woods. And then that's kind of a shot of how the board is. Sorry about that, you can see the wonky line down the middle, but this is just how we play when we're at my place. And that's kind of a shot from the other side, just to kind of get you a depth of kind of how his horde is mustering against my little compact bomb unit down there. So the Orcs get first turn, and they kind of just move up. I mean, there was some animosity checks that he's got to take, and he hasn't been used to be taking them. Someone playing with his demon army, and the only unit that failed it was his big horde of goblins. They failed it and they squabbled, so they just stand there and drool against each other. Oh no, sorry, they've got the charge if they... Sorry, they did stand and dribble, but they've got to declare a charge if they have to, and they failed charging against the dogs. Apart from that, or the other movement was just this. His unit is kind of at the back. He's got the ball boys sideways just because he'd left some models at home, so he's just using them kind of for unit fillers. The Littlins moved up across here, and the Bowman kind of shuffled up there as well. Then he moved his Mangler Squig up a little bit. It didn't really get the distance that he wanted, and he moved his big horde kind of behind them. Then you can see the kind of angle for the failed charge there. His other Mangler Squig came towards my dogs, and his Bowman just kind of stayed where they were. And that's kind of a shot of everyone kind of where we're all ending up at the end of this. So we go to the magic phase. It's 5 to 10, and I don't channel this turn. Sam he tries to cast Vindictive Glare on my dogs. And he eats... You know, Sam's a really great guy. He'll tell me everything that he's got up front. But he always jinxes himself by saying the worst case scenario thing and then saying, but that won't happen, and then it does. Essentially, goblins, I don't know if you've ever played them, they have... each night goblin comes with a magic mushroom dice, which effectively counts as an extra power dice. If you roll a 6, it doesn't count to add it. It doesn't count for irresistible force. But on the roll of a 1, followed by... if you roll of a 1, the spell doesn't cast. If that 1 is followed by a 1, 2, or 3, he then takes a wound as well, regardless of casting value and stuff like that. So he tries to cast Vindictive Glare on the dogs, he eats his mushroom for good luck, and he gets a 1, so he doesn't take it, but he ward saves his kind of... he ward saves his wound on that. So it's upsetting, but his level 4 can't cast anything. At this point I'd be crying, but he has another level 4 and a level 2. So his magic phase is long but over. And then he tries to cast Hand of Gork on his unit of Biggins. Now, I know he's got Foot of Gork sitting there, and I know my unit is primed for a stomping, so I let him have it. I think what he's going to do at this stage is move his big unit of Orcs in front of the Hex Wraiths, if you can see kind of on the screen that I'm looking at now. That means that the Hex Wraiths won't have enough movement to get over and jump on the Mangler Squig and therefore kill it, because I won't have enough room to kind of pivot through them. So that's where I think he's going to go. So I let him have it because that wasn't my plan for the Hex Wraiths anyway. He doesn't. He moves them here. He freaking throws them down the board, so they are staring down the flank of my entire line. I was not too impressed by this, but I had to admit to him that was not what I thought he was going to do with that when I thought he was going to do the spell. I forgot it was 5d6 they can move, and they freaking flew down the board down to here. Which is upsetting because now it's disrupted my entire battle line, and I've really got to rethink about things. The threat is literally on my doorstep now. So he throws his dice at foot, and of course he miscasts it, so I'm sitting on 5 dice and nothing to dispel with. And that's kind of where he left him there. That's his double 6 you can see there for his miscast. No point in me even trying to pick up the dice. Ugh. So that's where he decides to put the foot there for stompingness. And he obliterates the back rank. He takes 16 guys out. I've got no save, and he punched into the unit. I mean, that was it. He plummeted straight into that kind of group there. And then I know our Foot of Gork works. On a 4+, it hits another unit. He said, yeah, Foot of Gork on a 4+, it goes someone else. On a 2 or a 3, it wanders off. And on a 1, you get to stomp one of units. And he said, but that won't happen. It did, because he said it would happen. So I put the Foot of Gork template over his Savage Orcs over here, and I killed 6 of them. And he took a wound for his trouble with his miscast. I forget which one it was, but it was one where he ended up... Oh, magical feedback, because he thought he was accidentally going to kill his Night Goblin Sorcerer. He took a wound, his Shaman took a wound and didn't save it, his level 4 took a wound and did save it, and his little one didn't take a wound. So not the end of the world. We go to the shooting phase, and as you can see here, the Doom Diver plummets against my Terrorgeist. This is the part I always know. He hits, he'll wound, he'll kill it dead, and I'm about to take him off the board. But he only does 3 wounds, so it's not... He doesn't even need to deviate. I mean, that's where he frickin' landed. He only does 3 wounds that go through, so I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. I just can't last for another couple of rounds of shooting. So we go to Warriors of Chaos turn 1. The dogs move forward to jump on the Mangler Squig. I said it was a charge, but you can't charge a Mangler Squig. It counts as kind of a movement. And then I remembered that you had all the Fanatics. So I stopped 8 inches out, and he started releasing the Fanatics. So the first Fanatic goes through my unit of dogs, punches through them and kills 2 of them. Not the end of the world. And that's kind of a picture of kind of where they're coming from, that big unit, the one that's closest. Then the other 2 Fanatics come out, and he's very clever with his Fanatics because he lays them like mines now. Because it's 1d6 if they go through the unit, and it's 2d6 if you stand on it. So in an ideal world, you just stand on them all. At this point, he said, you know, you can keep going forward or you can stop where you are. They're direwolves. I don't care very much. And seeing as I only lost 2 last time, by logic, I can lose 2 again and get to the Mangler Squig. So I decided to keep going. That's my dog saying, let's have it. They exploded. The dogs didn't make it out of there. That was a really bad call on my part. The dogs just exploded. I was never going to get the Mangler Squig, but I suppose it's one less Fanatic to think about. The downside is I didn't even get close enough to trigger the other unit of Fanatics, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted everything to be revealed and ideally to jump on that Mangler Squig. So that's them dead. The Hex Wraiths shimmy around a little bit just to kind of get a better position. They jump on one Mangler Squig and come around. Because it's not magical, it can't hurt them. So they just pop him. They take 3d6 worth of hits that they can't be wounded with. So happy days. My unit... this is where, honestly, guys, I stood here for about 5 minutes trying to work out what to do, and Sam could feel my pain. Because I had those guys right down my flank, I had no idea how I was going to deal with that threat. And I honestly had no idea how I was going to kind of get around it. So here's my decision, what I went with in the end. I did the easy moves, the moves I knew I was gonna, make. The zombie horde are gonna wander towards those Mangler Squigs and Fanatics, and they're just gonna soak the damage up. So that's what they did. They just wandered over there. Excuse me, guys. The dogs are moving towards the Doom Diver on the hill. A strength 4 on the charge, and they're only goblins, and they cause fear. So I reckon, provided they make it into combat, that'll be a relatively easy win for me. So here's what I decided to do over here. I spun my Crypt Horrors around to face at an angle kind of back here, and I moved my ghouls forward not out of the charge arc, but as far forward as they could go. Then I moved my Mortis Engine in front of the big uns at an angle, so when Sam charged it, he couldn't get around me to hit my ghouls or my Hex Wraiths. He had to charge my Mortis Engine, and then if he broke it, he'd come through and be at an angle, but hopefully not run off the board. That was a thought process behind it. And it took me a while to get there. And as you can see, my Terrorgeist just skipped off into the background to hide behind the guys here. I mean, in this game he doesn't really have a lot to scream at because they're all kind of hordes, and screaming does minimal damage to hordes. It's more individual characters and monsters and stuff that he utilises himself against. But beggars can't be choosers in this game. Every little helps, essentially, kind of at the end of the day. And that's kind of a shot of where we left everything with regards to all the movement and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling a little bit nervous at this point with everything, but I don't know, stuff will happen. We go to the magic phase, and it's 3 and a 1, so not a lot of magic phase. I throw some on Soul Blight. I throw a couple of dice on Soul Blight, and I get it off on his unit of Biggins. Massive bonus for me, and he tried to dispel it but failed, which is really bad luck, because I think you'll notice throughout this entire video, Sam fails to dispel almost every spell I cast. Not through lack of throwing enough dice. In Math Hammer, he should have dispelled all of them, but I don't know, the dice just weren't with him for some reason. So we threw that, and I got them off from there. Then we did the regrow spell. What's that? Invocation. Yeah, Invocation. And I got 3 ghouls back. Hot damn! Now I've got a whole complete rank. Happy days. So we go to the shooting phase, and I scream and kill one guy. Rocking the Terrorgeist. He was more of a whisper than anything else. He just kind of like breathed on one at the back, and he kind of fell over through the death breath. And I took a little bit of picture because I realised how looming it was to have that unit of little uns just there, and I realised I put myself in a precarious position for charges, and I might have screwed myself over a little bit there. And then we just go to the combat, and then that's it. I mean, we don't have any combat in at the moment, so we go to Orcs and Goblins turn 2. This unit here obviously charged into my Mortis Engine. Everyone knew that was coming, but it was the only thing I could feel like giving up at this stage that they could have. So I gave them the Mortis Engine. That's another shot of them kind of getting in on there. We tried to level it up so it was aesthetically pleasing for everyone, but it was never going to happen with those trays and those guys in there. Then we do the fun part of the game. So you can see the Fanatic at the top. He rolled a double and he died. He choked in his own chain or whatever he did. That was not naughty, by the way. That was not what you thought it was. Dirty-minded YouTube viewer. No, he got his chain wrapped around him and he ended up dying in the corner. Then the other Fanatic went all the way through this unit of zombies and killed 2 of them. That's also upsetting because now he's in my lines, which I didn't want to see. That's another picture of the Night Goblin, the Fanatic who tripped over, bless him, and died. And then the Mangler Squig, I could see this happening badly as well, but he rolled just short, so he's now in front of me. Sam knows I'm going to jump on him. I know I'm going to jump on him. It's just how many zombies can he take out in the process. And that's my, in case you guys are wondering, the little guy holding the staff in the front rank, he's my level 2. I really like the model. I got it for quite cheap. And he's there. By the way, ignore the fact I've just noticed that my Ghoul King fell over. So ignore that, he's not dead. And the tape measure that's coming out of nowhere. Should probably pay attention to that before I put it in here. And he's down again! What, I must have just fallen over from the... Oh yeah, because he's weighted. Right, and then this is where I find out that he has the Arabian Carpet. So, you might have noticed from this picture, it's kind of like spot the difference. What has changed in this picture that wasn't in the last picture, apart from Sam's hand in the background? I'll give you a clue. It's this guy. His Night Goblin jumped out and went right down my flank here. And Sam unintentionally boxed my unit of Cryptorism because now they can't move backwards or forwards. And I know all you attuned, or people who are aware of how good Night Goblins are, or how good the Goblins are, you're aware they've got a spell which reduces the initiative, and a spell which makes you take an initiative test. So, and you're in my flank. I can see how bad this looks, and this scared the crap out of me. Because that guy is primed to do some serious damage down my ranks. I've walked right into his trap, effectively. His other unit of Night Goblins kind of wanders forward up here. His unit of Little Uns doesn't have to charge, thank God, and they walk a little bit closer towards me there. But my Terrorgeist is on borrowed time at this point. He is not going to last much longer. We go to the magic phase. It's a 6 and a 4, and I channel 3 times. I mean, what are the odds of that happening? Someone out there with good math will be able to tell me. I bitch and whinge every time I play the vampires because I channel 3 times a phase, and normally we get to about turn 4 before I channel. I am never complaining again. I channeled 3 times in one phase. I had almost more dice than Sam did at this frickin' stage. It was 8 and 8 as opposed to anything else. I matched him for dice. It's fantastic. So we tried to cast Itchy Nuisance on my unit of... the unit that he's kind of in the flank of, that unit of ghouls there, to bring their initiative down. I know the thing that's coming, so I know how this stack of spells goes. But he fails to cast. He gets a 1, 1 and a 4. So he eats a mushroom and doesn't take a wound for it. But I mean, he's stressing now because his magic phase has not gone the way that he wanted it to go for. He throws the rest of his dice at foot because now I'm sitting on a pile of dice. I throw all 8 and dispel it. We go to the shooting phase, and you'll see his... excuse me, guys. We'll see his Doom Diver puts his marker there on front of the Crypt Haunters. This looks like it's primed to hurt. Key rack. Doom Diver kills itself, misfires to the nth degree and explodes in the backhand corner. After the magic phase, Sam is feeling a little bit disheartened about things going this way. And I think he's beginning to realise why he wants to give up the Orcs and Goblins. They are just not performing the way that he wants them to do. So we go to the combat phase. Oh no, we don't. Sorry, we go to the shooting phase next. That's always a good one to start. The goblins over here take a couple of shots at my dogs, and they don't do any wounds. I mean, it's like 6s to hit, and they just flub and do none of their attacks. The big boss saves. We all attack kind of at weird points in this. I lose 2 wounds in my Mortis engine to the big uns. I lose 2 wounds in combat overall across everything. But I do absolutely nothing back to him that's worth writing home about. He's charged, got 3 ranks, a banner, and a BSB. I don't have even close to the combat res to survive it, and I explode. I didn't think I'd die that easily, but I mean, I didn't even do any damage back to him. I mean, even with Soul Blight, I mean, it was just horrific. It was an absolute slaughtering. So they run up the hill. Luckily, that kind of worked in my favour. They didn't get all the way off the board, which is kind of where I wanted them to be, just kind of teetering up there. So we got a Vampire Count's turn 2, and my zombies, in case you hadn't noticed, jumped on the Mangler Squig. That's them before, and blam! That's them after. Fat chunk at the back go, but hey, the Mangler's dead, so I mean, that's one less thing I've got to worry about. The unit of Hex Race, we realise at this point, are within 8 inches to release the Fanatics, so we release all the Fanatics that kind of come off there, but of course, because they're not magical, they can't do any damage, it's just release them for the sake of intensive purposes. And what I do is I get my Hex Wraiths to Soul Steal over the Fanatics, so they kill that, and then to go through the unit of Night Goblins. If you're not aware what Hex Wraiths do, in the movement phase, if they travel through a unit, every model that travels through it does a Strength 5 automatic hit with no save allowed. If you've seen what is it called? Film's gonna bug me now. The Mummy, the one where Prince Imhotep gets his soul taken by that ghost chariot. That is exactly what I always picture this as. They just rip through and tear your soul straight out. And I kill 11 of them. So happy days. This is where Sam's saying it's fine, they're gonna fail their fear check and run. They do not. These guys have got iron steel reserve. They roll a 3 for their check. Sam was saying that the fact that they were all looking forward meant they just didn't realise anyone had died at this point. I mean, he blamed it down to stupidity more than anything else. I was saying those Night Goblins have got balls of freaking steel. That's what they've got. The dogs around here move to get a charge up here. They were going after the Doom Diver, but I mean, that's not there anymore. So now they're kind of without a place and without a home. So they'll contribute somewhere over here. The unit of ghouls I've got spins around on the spot just to face backwards with avoiding the Fanatic. And the unit of Cryptoris charges the unit on the hill. I don't know how long I can hold them out. The idea is that I can just be there as a little bit of a roadblock. I mean, I'm toughness 5, and they're soul blighted, so they're soul blighted for now. And then I can maybe get my ghouls in next time and try to win on a side charge on static res and stuff. Trying to ignore that wizard behind me because I'm going on the old school tactic. If I can't see him, he's not an issue. Like when the little kids used to cover their eyes and think that you couldn't see them. That's the logic I'm going on. I move my Terrorgeist up a little bit closer just to get out of the way of the unit of Little Uns in the backhand corner. But at this point, because I'm too far away from my general and I can't march, I don't have the movement to get the other side of the Crypt Horrors. So that's where he's got to stay, which means there's going to be a charge and he's going to get run off the table, and I'm not looking forward to that at all. That's kind of them encroaching down the side, which is why I've got the Hex Wraith there. On the very unlikely chance I make it through the combat, I want the Hex Wraith to be able to contribute a little bit towards it and be able to help a little bit. So we go to the magic phase. It's 6 and a 4. I channel and Sam does as well. First spell I cast is Van Hels on my unit of Crypt Horrors to reroll their hits in combat. When you've got poison, rerolling hits is phenomenal because all those misses are then potentially an auto wound, and that's the way I've always looked at it, which is why I'll always take Van Hels over what's the other one called? The one which is reroll wounds. And he lets me have it. I get I cast Fate of Boona. On his level 4, who's out in the open right in front of me, and he takes 1 wound. So, oh no, sorry, it's not on the level 4 in front of me, it's on his big boss. And he takes 1 wound. And I thought I'd do a lot more damage than that, but I did not. And then I just cast Soul Blight on him again, because I really want that to go off. Sam fails to dispel them all. I mean, he's having a shitty time with dispelling. I mean, those are the 2 dice to 3. I mean, he's just doing horrible with regards to his dispelling. So we go to the combat phase, and that's kind of what it looks like, kind of after all's said and done. I kill his BSB outright because I do not want to have to fight with that kind of res. So the 2 guys at the front punch against the BSB and they kill him. Everyone else just kind of attacks the unit. I do a fair amount of damage in unit, and they do minimal back to me. I think they only do 3 wounds to me because of Soul Blight. They're strength 5 because they're big uns, but they're not. They're strength 4. So instead of 4s, it's now 5s to wound me, and I'm hitting them a little bit easier, and it's all working a little bit better, kind of in my favour. We all stay where we are. They make their check, even without the BSB. I mean, they haven't lost by a lot with the charge and 3 wounds against 6 wounds and stuff. I mean, they haven't lost by a lot. That's the downside on vampires. There's no command, so I can't utilise kind of command at any point. But everyone sticks and everyone kind of just stays where they are. So we go to Orcs and Goblins turn 3. What happens here is the big unit again squabbles, loving it. They just kind of stay where they are, and they don't do shit. They just kind of like dribble around where they are. The unit of Night Goblin Bowmen just kind of stay where they are, just ready to look around the place and kind of get a grip on things. The Fanatic at the back here behind my zombies, he rolls a double and he kills himself, so that's not great. Then these 2 Fanatics move around here a little bit, just free themselves up, ready to get down on the flanks and things. His unit of Savage Orcs doesn't charge. They come a little bit forward, just ready to do some damage. Ready to do some damage and slam into something down here. Normally my Terrorgeist, and they're just going to punch him right in the throat. And his wizard moves up against me in the backhand corner. I can see it. He's just waiting for that phase where he can destroy that unit and watch it melt into the ground. The unit of Bowmen, sorry, they move up in front of the dogs. They're ready to shoot at them. We go the magic phase again. It's 4 and a 2, which plays out as 6 and 7 for dice he channels, and I don't. I believe that's how it works. No, I must channel twice, and he gets none. I had a fantastic magic phase with regards to channeling. He fails to cast Itchy Nuisance again by eating the mushroom again. That is why I took a picture on his own, because he's got a bag full of mushrooms in front of him, and he has literally choked on all of them. He hasn't been able to cast a spell successfully since he got it, basically. And then he tries to cast Gorkle Fix It on his unit to reroll, to make me reroll all my 6s in combat, but I dispel it. So we have the shooting phase, and these guys at the back pepper off a dog. There's nothing I can do about that. The dogs have no purpose in life. They're just there. That's all that's going to happen to them now. And his other unit of Night Goblins, you can see in the very far background, killed 2 ghouls, which I'm not overly impressed about, but it's upsetting none the least. We go into combat, and I direct. I've still got Van Hells on me, and still got Soul Blight. I direct as many attacks as I can against his general, and I kill him. I just get enough through his armor that I just managed to get him dead. That was all I wanted, just to make sure that he wasn't standing at the end of the game, essentially. And I got my wish, luckily enough. The unit that was fighting, I mean, you can see the dead pile over there. I mean, I took another wound for everything going forward. But I killed another pile there, and they broke from combat and they fled. I didn't catch them, but luckily I didn't need to, because they ran through a Fanatic, and they took some more damage from the Fanatic that they ran through. I mean, there's you're noticing there's one dead missing Fanatic, and there's the wounds at the back. And look, there's the pile in that corner. Those 4 guys over there, they died from just the Fanatic, because you step on it, it's 2d6 hits. I don't know whether it's showing his point on my Hex Wraith. I've only just noticed that as well. What's he playing at? So we go to Vampires turn 3. The dogs charge the unit of Bowmen over there, and my zombies charge the unit of Bowmen over there. The same unit of Bowmen. They take some damage with the Hex Wraith, not the Hex Wraith, right, I've got to make sure I say this right. 2 Fanatics that I'm charging into combat hit me, so that's the one behind me and the one to the side, they both hit me. And then the one that I stand on the way counts as 2d6. So in total, I take 4d6 hits going into combat. If that makes sense. We just did them all together because we knew I was going to make it in. I did, but I lost a chunk of guys getting into combat. But then again, they're zombies. So do we really care? No. No, we don't. We don't really care. At this point, I'm kind of trying to claim VP as much as I can. So my Hex Wraith charged the unit of fleeing Biggins, and they run them down because they only travel a little bit, and I managed to overrun them. Unfortunately, I've left myself in a bit of a precarious position with regards to the little ones charging me, and I'll lose on combat rares, but at least they're not charging my Crypt Horrors at the end of the day, and that's kind of what I'm more happy about. My unit of ghouls swivels around to face the flying assassin. I've got 2 Screams and a Death Mage in that unit, and then I move my Terrorgeist up as well. So now he's got 3 vocal cords primed on him, and everything from the Law of Death. Anyone with an attempted assassination against my general and that unit of ghouls has got to get at this point. This is what you get, little goblin, when you fly into my ranks and pretend to be one of me. Not on my watch. And this is a picture of how we left the battle at the end of kind of the movement phase. We realised as time got on, we got messier and messier with leaving stuff everywhere. I'm not going to do that in the future because I think it looks horribly untidy. So we go to the magic phase. It's a 5 and a 3. I get Van Hels off on the zombies, and he lets me have it. I don't know why I cast it. I was trying to draw dice out, and he wasn't taking the bait at all. Oh well. And then I failed to cast Fate of Boona on the individual Night Goblin. So we go to the shooting. That's the magic phase. I mean, I don't bugger all apart from that. We go to the shooting phase, and my Tomb Banshee shouts at him and doesn't do anything. So way to bring her for 95 points. My Scab Scratch Sword, he's going to bring it. He doesn't do any wounds either against him. So at this point, I'm thinking, it's just going to be, if he gets the good magic phase next time, I'm canned at this point. Terrorgeist clears its lungs, takes a deep breath, and blam. He freaking melts the Night Goblin, turns him to dust on the floor. So the Terrorgeist, like I said, individual characters, he's where he is. He rolls like a 12, plus his 3 wounds already. I mean, he's on like freaking 15 over a leadership of a Night Goblin. I mean, I'm not saying leadership bad, but leadership very, very, very bad. So we go to the combat phase. He kills a few of me, I kill a few of him. He's lost by a lot in combat, mostly because of those rerolls. Do not forget those rerolls, guys. But he didn't direct any attacks against my wizard, which I thought was a little bit weird. So I overrun, and he runs towards the board. He gets away, but I run just kind of after him. So the dogs chase him a little bit down the board, and the other guys kind of chase him down a little bit as well. You'll see a little bit more of that in Orcs and Goblins turn 4, I think. The Night Goblins charge the side of my unit. That was always to be expected. I saw that coming, like it was going to happen. Sorry, turn 5. I knew that was going to happen, but I mean, I've just got to suck it up. It's a unit of zombies. I'm not going to lose sweat over it. The goblins at the back, bless them, they don't rally and they run off the board. They're done for the day. They're going home. And the unit of Little Ones charge my Hex Wraiths. Ugh. I like my Hex Wraiths, and I don't want them to die here, especially not like this. That's the unit of goblins running away, bless them. So we go to the magic phase. He tries to cast Gork will fix it, and miscasts. No, he can't try to cast Gork will fix it because he doesn't have that wizard. He must have not cast anything in the magic phase. Oh no, he must have just left it. And he's shooting his all out of range or dead, so he doesn't bother with the shooting phase. We go straight down to the combat phase. He doesn't do anything against me because he physically can't. I kill one guy, and I lose by 5. And the Hex Rays kind of start melting in the backhand corner. In combat over here, although I've still got Van Hels, I still lose a ton of people. But I've left my wizard out of combat. I don't know whether that's legal, guys. You might have to let me know that. I don't think you have to put characters in if they're not in, but I don't know. You guys will have to correct me because it might have swayed him kind of in that respect. So we go to Vampire Count's turn. Over here, these ghouls just kind of spin around. I'm well aware the clock is ticking for last turns. I don't know how many points I can potentially grab. So I am running as hard as I can after that unit of Big Horde. There's got to be some points in there, and maybe if I get them on the side with my zombies in there, maybe I could get them outranked or something like that. Maybe I can break them that way, but I don't know. At this point, it's just let's bring some pain on. Let's see if we can do some deadly damage. The Crypt Horrors just kind of move up here a little bit. They're ready for the charge. I mean, Sam now can't overrun when he kills those unit of Hex Wraiths. And it's not an if at this point, guys. It is a when. When he kills those Hex Wraiths, he can't overrun, so I can have the charge next turn. All he can do is reform the face, which is quite nice. It's one of the nice things about crumbling. And that's kind of where everything stays. Not a lot moving at this point because I've got not a lot left on the board, to be completely honest with you. And as you can tell, the day was getting a little bit more messy as well. So you go to the magic phase. It's a 4 and a 1. I cast Soul Blight on the goblins. Again, I don't really have a lot of spells that I'm trying to cast at this stage. Nothing's really in combat. I thought about casting this on the unit of the unit in combat with Hex Rays, but that's not really going to do anything. I mean, they're dead anyway. So at this point, it's just me kind of burning dice. We go to the combat phase. I mean, that's them before the combat, and good God, did they get slaughtered in the combat phase? Even at a worse stat, I think I made them better, if anything. They obliterate part of the unit with all their attacks and stuff. I mean, I can't make a save to save my life, but that's how it works. And in combat again over here, he melts the X-Rays, so I don't do any damage. Oh no, there's one guy at the back. I kill one guy at the back, but apart from that, that is it. It does not get a lot better from here on out. So go to the Orcs and Goblins last turn. His Fanatic over here gets wrapped around himself and dies. His Fanatic over here gets wrapped around himself and dies. And his Fanatic over here gets wrapped around himself and dies. He loses 3 Fanatics to doubles or hit in terrain in one turn. I mean, I know they're not doing anything at this point, but good God, that is peculiar. His magic phase is a bit of a wash. He doesn't cast anything, and his shooting phase he manages to kill those 3 ghouls that are laying there. We jump into the combat phase, and he obliterates the unit. I mean, I know I've left 3 guys there, but he doesn't. He kills the unit dead. And then we go to Vampire Count's final turn, last turn of the game. The Crypt Horrors charge the unit of Litlands. Maybe I can break them. There's still a hope that I can break them and claim the points for them, because I know he's not going to be able to get the points from me. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about at this point. The big unit of ghouls charges the unit of Night Goblins, but fails really badly, which sucks because the dogs make it in. And now I'm just going to give away dogs at the end of the day, which I don't want to do either. But I don't know. It's not ideal, but well. We got a magic phase, and I get another decent magic phase, which sucks. Sam's just hating the fact how decent my magic phase is going. And again, he fails to dispel my spells. I get Van Hells off on the unit Crypt Horrors, and I don't get Fate of Boon. I get Soul Blight, but I put the wrong card down there. We go to shoot in, and I can't scream at anything, and my failed charge means I'm out of range for the other one as well. We go to combat, and he doesn't kill my unit of dogs. Yeah, happy days. He fails his fear check, and he only manages to... Well, I mean, he still kills a lot, but he manages to kill 3. Combat, even with all my bonuses over here, I don't manage to break the unit. I wanted to see them off the table, but it just wasn't happening. Can't complain at this point, though. And that's it. We call it a day after that. That's the final combat sorted out. And unfortunately, even though I spent the entire beginning of the game bragging about how awesome the Scab Strat sword is, in case you didn't notice, because that last failed charge, I didn't get into combat with it. So my general, like a samurai, falls on his own blade and kills himself. So I laughed about killing Sam's general, and mine killed himself. So I'm not quite sure what's worse at that. We talked about the points, and it was a victory to the Vampire Count, which is always a good thing when the undead evil armies are rising again. I lost my Mortis engine, my unit of zombies, my level 2, my general, sadly as well, and a unit of dogs. Sam lost his general, his unit of Biggins, his mage, his BSB, unit of Night Goblins, both Mangle Squigs, a Doom Diver. We worked it out points, and I managed to beat him on that. Fantastic game that I managed to play with him. I know I say that about all the games, but I mean, I'm blessed with the gaming circle I have. Everyone's a good sport. No one's a dick about kind of when they play, and to put it bluntly, they're always really nice guys, and there's nothing kind of that's too much trouble with them. Got a few more games kind of lined up for you guys in the future. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.